Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Thursday, June 20th. And boys, for the first time in a long time, we got a little bit of a breather here, a little bit of a break. The PLL is heading into a bye week after things wrapped up last weekend in Philadelphia. 4 games of Villanova, all a couple of nail biters there. But for the first time since God knows when, there's no lacrosse this weekend. So I'm Jordie from Barstool. With me, as always, we've got Doogs, we've got intern Ness. Doogs looks like he's wrapping up some lunch here, but Ness, we'll start with you. How are you feeling here, brother? Big chance for you to see at least a couple curse get a win at Nova last Saturday.
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good. I got my trusty cans hat on. It was a fun weekend. Got to see you, Jordie. Always makes me very happy when I see you. I saw a lot of Cabrini guys, and most importantly, that was some good lacrosse. I'll say. I think I might have to double check. I think 3 out of the 4 games were 1-goal games or tied going into half. So just real good lacrosse being played, nail biters, and it was hot out, so the drinks were flowing, both water and beers. So shout out to Bar Down Beer Lounge, and it was a fun weekend. Now we're back. Bye week.
Cabrini got a special shout out.
Yeah, got a little recognition on the turf. We brought Billy Football out onto the turf with us in a Cabrini jersey. So it's 10 Cabrini alumni and Billy Football smack in the middle. They did a little recognition in between commercial breaks, which was fun. Got the boys some drinks from the sidelines and just had some fun. It was a good time. PLL hooked it up, and they did a good job showing a little love to the Cabrini guys. So thank you to the PLL guys, and it was a lot of fun.
Now, does part of you feel a little bit, and I don't want to pour any salt into a wound here, because I'm a big Cabrini guy. Cabrini is basically, Cabrini is Delco University, so, but do you feel almost like a little bit of a cuck going out there to get celebrated on Villanova's turf as Villanova is buying your school and basically just buying it for parts?
So I think it was more, you can look at it one of two ways. You can look at it like that, like we're being cucked. I looked at it more of like we're on your turf, we're getting the recognition. We have the only national championship of all Philadelphia lacrosse teams, any division. So, for now, we'll hold that title. Maybe if Nova can win it one day, they can take that title from us. But for now,
that'll never happen. But
in the lacrosse world, that belongs to Cabrini. So they can buy us, but they can't take the natty. And, I didn't see many Villanova jerseys there besides Kirsten Campbell showed up in them, the Cannons players. But not a lot of Villanova, jerseys in the crowd. People are wondering where were the Villanova alumni. Just didn't see a strong showing. I'm just saying.
That's because Nova mostly recruits out of like North Jersey and like New York. Yeah. Yeah, they're not big in grabbing the Delco rats, those scumbags. Dukes,
yeah.
Obviously you were watching some lacrosse, but big weekend for you. And you were in Vegas at the Sphere seeing Denko. So how was your week? Let's talk weekends, boys. We got a bye week here. We don't need to get too much into lacrosse.
I need a review on the Sphere, like specifically
9.3.
Wow.
9.3. The only reason it's not a 10 is because I couldn't do it twice. It was as cool of a concert I've ever been to. Huge fan. They didn't even play like the set that like most touches my heart. But wow, what a venue, what a time. Great sound system, great visuals, great band. Was able to I was pretty much in and out. So my gambling didn't go too well with like in the casino. PLL I bet on when I was there. Just using the legal state, but overall very fun. It was cool to like watch. I was in the airport and the game happened to be on, so I was able to watch like the full second half, not on my phone, not like having to move, like watching on YouTube TV. So that was cool. It was nice. I had a really, really, really good time. The Waterdogs Cannons game was phenomenal.
Yeah, just real quick on something that you mentioned. Like obviously, one shout out DraftKings, hashtag DK partner. Like, being able to use the app on your phone in a legal state, if you're of legal age, make sure that we're gaming responsibly. Obviously, like the accessibility and like the ease of it is great, but there's nothing better than being in a legitimate sports book and just like,
Yeah.
I feel like getting that ticket, just like it makes the bet feel that much more important.
Right. I put a future actually on not on the PL, just like put some futures down, but it's also like now I'm gonna have to go back and cash that ticket. So like that always, because I'm expecting to hit that ticket. So the fact that I have to go back is a little insane, but it's something.
Well, maybe one day the PLL championship will be played at the Sphere, or maybe an all-star game.
Could you imagine? It's hot out there, man. The desert.
How? But
106.
Isn't the Sphere
Inside?
So does it matter if it's hot?
No, it's just hot. That's all I was saying. It's just
okay.
Yeah,
okay, just in general.
That was just more like sky is blue, like sun is hot. Vegas is as hot as the sun. It was ballsack hot. It shocked me. I don't know what I thought I was going into. I thought I was going to like California. Where I was like, oh, it'll be like near the beach, just straight heat. Just
you're just in the middle of the desert, Dukes.
Yeah.
I've never been. I really need to go to Vegas. I need to get my first touches in Vegas.
I've been there twice, and both have been in February, so it's perfect. Like you get the only issue with that is like by the time February rolls around, like my complexion, and I feel like Ness, you can definitely. I don't know. I feel like my complexion's a little lighter on the and by the time that February rolls around, I am just a pasty ghost. It's disgusting. And when you do get to like Vegas, like February, it's like 70 degrees out. Like you want to wear, I wouldn't throw on shorts, but like maybe a short sleeve shirt, and like either way, it's like I kind of want to just like cover myself up a little bit more, and then you're kind of battling on if you want to like get a little bit of a sweat in on 70 degrees and pants and a long sleeve, and so you're just battling that element. But I would say, yeah, I'd imagine that going there in June is that definitely a sweat box, but. PLL All-Star game in Vegas one time. I mean, who knows? It's the sport of the future. Who knows where we can go?
If it's in Vegas, I will be there no matter what.
Yeah, well, it was in Philly last week, and Ness and I were there, and Doogs, you would have been there if you wouldn't have had better plans. Like we mentioned, a lot of great games last weekend. Again, we're a little bit late on the weekend recap, so we don't have to go through game by game here, but I mean, 2 games for the Waterdogs as the host team this weekend and 2 overtime losses. Waterdogs now 0-3 to start the year. I feel like this has got to be the biggest story. Well, maybe Atlas, who knows? But I feel like Waterdogs starting off the year 0-3 right now. Is it time to sound the alarm on the Aqua Pups?
No, I'll take it from here. What, two overtime losses, one goal loss to the Archers in the first game of the season. People are ready. We'll get into it. But the last time they started 0-3, they won the championship. They're still, in my eyes, a top 3 team in a power rankings. If I had to rank teams, or in my confidence of where they'll be at the end of the year. They're and I know it's a game of inches. I've said this last week. Like they were on the right side of a lot of 1-goal games in the past. So I'm not ready to sound the alarm. Nest, are you?
Absolutely not. They're so close to winning all these games, and it's almost like mind-blowing that they've lost 3 games by 1 without winning virtually any face-offs. I'm going to dive into the face-off issue a little bit later when we buy and sell. But it's insane that they won't just sign a guy for a game. Like, I don't know. It seems like people get signed and dropped every week in the PLL. I know you might have to bench someone that you don't want to bench, but you have to try a face-off guy. Even if you win 7 more face-offs, that can change the entire game right there. And that's such a small number compared to what you've been doing. So not hitting the panic button, but it's an interesting strategy that they're going with. So, but I think they have a really good team. I think if they get a couple wins, they're a threat to win it. I know Doogs mentioned their current odds on DraftKings are pretty high up there, so could be a good look for some people.
See, like everything you just said right there is exactly why I am sounding the alarm. I think that I'm going to go last weekend was just gross negligence on the Waterdogs' behalf. They play that first game against the Archers in Albany, and they're getting smoked by Sis at the face-off X. And like that was, in the first half, that was a difference maker. Obviously, they had a big second half. They were able to make things tight, turn it into a 1-goal game. So, they kind of canceled out the face-off in the second half that game. But, that first half, Sis was really taking over, and that, right out of the gates, the Archers were able to get hot. They had off in Charlotte for week 2. They didn't play. So they had an entire week off. They could have looked at things and been like, you know what? Like, yeah, maybe we went into that game kind of overthinking a little bit. Maybe we thought, all right, we don't need to have a face-off guy. We didn't do it last year, and we got to the championship. Like, maybe we can do it again this year. They didn't bring anyone in on week 2. Week 3 comes out. They lost the game because they were stubborn assholes. They could have got a face-off guy. They were stubborn assholes about it. What happens in the Cannons game? Zach Tucci kicks their dicks in, right? The first goal he scores, Waterdogs have a man-up face-off. They're on the power play. They lose the face. Not only do you lose the face-off and then there goes your power play, but Tucci scores man down. So you just not like the power play didn't get canceled out. You just got scored on. The one right before halftime, right? Sowers has a big goal in the dying seconds of the first half to maybe give the Waterdogs a little bit of momentum heading into halftime. Tucci wins the last face-off of the half, bombs away from 40 yards back of the net after a great Marcus Holman screen for a 2-bomb. Like Tucci, dick kick right there. And then the overtime. Like you guys, the Waterdogs have a miraculous goal in the power play to tie things up, send it to overtime. Feeling great about yourself, right? It's like, all right, let's go. We can get a win in front of the home crowd, kind of start this weekend off on the right foot. Overtime, like people aren't even back in their seats yet to start overtime, and Zach Tucci already put a dagger in it. So like that right there, you can say, oh, like, yeah, maybe if we had a face-off guy, like it doesn't change everything. It doesn't solve everything. The fucking Cannons face-off guy just put up 4 points on your dumbasses. So yeah, I think that's kind of a difference maker. Same thing with the Whip Snakes game, right? Like Nardella goes 31 for 31. Like I don't think the Waterdogs are bringing in anyone who's going to make that a 50-50 with Nardella. But dude, you go 31 for 31. Like you look at the possession number, like the Whip Snakes had the ball for 6 more minutes than the Waterdogs in that game. Like you don't think that those extra 6 minutes could have helped the Waterdogs score one fucking goal in regulation that would have, won the game for it? It's like you don't need to win all of them, but like, dude, you can't go 0 for 31 and then be like, oh well, we were close. We were close. Like we're really good. We were like, shut the fuck up. You went 0 for 31. Like fucking figure something out with the face-off X. Stop being stubborn pricks about it. And it's just like, that's why I'm worried about them. Because
I think you brought up
it's so easy to fix it. It's so easy to fix it. There's a fucking guy out there whose name is Connor Farrell. There's a lot of guys out there who can at least make it interesting at the face-off X, so you're not getting fucking fast broke and have an overtime end within 3 seconds. There are guys out there, and if you're not gonna pick them up, then I'm worried about them moving forward because that's stuff like that. It's what's the word here? Hubris, right?
Fair.
Yeah, I think your points are fair, but at the end of the day, like when you pick up someone like Connor Farrell, you're counting on someone like his skill set is really just winning the clamp, and it's definitely not to his advantage to be in the 32-second shot clock era. You have to look at who's like doing very well this year. It's somebody like Joe Nardella who could stay on the field after and could set picks. You see Trevor Baptiste doing that with like Jeff Teed off the faceoff wins, Luke Weirman, Zach Tucci, all athletic faceoff guys, even like a Nick Rowlett. I don't necessarily think that and I love Connor Farrell as just a pure human and like face-off guy. I don't know if that's your direct answer right now. I don't.
It doesn't need to be Connor Farrell. Like I'm just saying, but like here's the thing. What are the numbers? Are we really like that sure that the 32-second shot clock like isn't worth like? They have fucking ballers on attack. Just get them the ball. They can operate quick. Right? You, like put throw Brando, like, or even if you keep Walker out there, like that's fine. Like Walker, McCardle, and Sowers should be able to score in 30 seconds. They're that fucking good. The NLL is 30 seconds shot clock. They score pretty fucking quick in early offense, you know. So I think that we're just like so dismissive of, oh well, it's a 32-second shot clock. That possession's not worth anything. Where it's like these guys are pretty fucking good. I think that they should be able to score in 30 seconds.
I don't think it's the 32-second shot clock isn't worth it, but if you're not efficient in the 32 seconds, I don't think it's worth it. Like the Archers are very efficient in 32-second shot clock, like as a whole offense. So like it makes sense for someone like that to want to. What were you gonna say, Nest?
I just think like even if you're like the least efficient you could be in the 32-second, like let's just say it's just one out of the 15 faceoffs you may win or the 10. Like that's better than the none you're gonna get. Like it's that
I don't agree with that.
It's lowest percentage. Like I think it's worth it.
I agree that one is better than none.
I don't agree with that. I think you'd rather
like
instead of if you're gonna lose 50% or less of your faceoffs, I agree with the Waterdog strategy.
You would rather go 6% than 40%?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Because look at who your weapons are on the field in that sense. If you're preparing to have let's just say Connor Fowler right now. You're basically being like Connor, you gotta play defense or get off the field. Where I'd rather have like a Zach Currier out there who's like, all right, play defense and then try to get the ball back. Because it's not like they're getting killed in the 32 seconds. Like you made up good points of like the 2-pointer at the end of the half. Like, yeah, that happened. I'm not counting that happening every single game. I think more of the issue, not even an issue, but something the Waterdogs could also get better at, is they haven't had a 2-point shot yet. They've scored more goals than the other team, I think, in all 3 games, or 2 of the games, and one of them.
Listen, I'm a. This is where Doogs, you get me into trouble because you fucking say things that then make me feel like I have to be a hater, and I'm not. I love Zach Currier, but let's go back to the Archers game, right? Like Sis dusted it, and then Currier goes for a little over the head. Sis tucks the stick away, goes down, runs down, and scores. It's like yeah, you might get burned by these face-off guys every once in a while. I think that I don't think it happens more against Connor Farrell than it would against sometimes they're going to get hot and they're going to go to the rack and they're still good lacrosse players in their own right, but they're not great. They're not going to dust you all the time. They have the ability to dust you and get to the rack a couple times a game. It's not every time. So I think getting the possessions would then kind of cancel out the amount of times that they're able to dust you. I just don't think that it's that much of a difference. I think, I don't know. You want to keep your guy, you want to keep Sis or Baptiste or those guys on the field for the 32-second shot clock because you're going to take advantage of a. Again, it doesn't need to be Connor Farrell. That's just obviously the biggest name that's out there. But you want to keep them on to and keep your offensive guys off the field. By all means, go ahead.
I just don't think they're getting as killed in the 32 seconds as you're making it out to be.
I think it's
just. I think you're pinpointing the time that they have scored in the 32 seconds. When overall, it's not like they're scoring every single time that they win a faceoff. And on the flip end of things, you look at the Waterdogs midfield and what they have a deep short stick D-midi rotation. They have a hell of a lot of talent on the offensive end, on the offensive midfield. I think the best midfield unit throughout the whole PLL. And you're adding Jack Hanna back to that. Who do you drop?
That's why there's coaches. They need to make that decision. But I just think it's crazy to not even give yourself a chance to let there be a fluke fast break or an opportunity where you shoot the ball over the net, you get your offense out there with 27 seconds, you spin the ball around, you go to the cage with your best player, and you score a goal. I just think if you limit the other team's chance at 32 seconds, even if the other team only scores twice on they go 2 for 31, let's say, whatever it is, just for a random example. If you don't give them 31 faceoffs, they're not going to score twice, and you're giving yourself the option to score. I just think the idea that faceoffs don't matter is I feel like watching the game, I feel insane sitting right there and watching them just let the guy win it. They don't even contest it. They pull their hands.
I truly do not find it as big of a deal. They're 3 goals away also from this not being a narrative.
But that's my point. Is it's not
I
working.
think in overtime,
So-
it really kills people. It kills them
See,
overtime.
here's the thing. This is where, all right. So right now, like they're on that line of like, so I get the line of thinking of, oh, well, they're 3 goals away from this not being a narrative. I get like, all right, you can't, like, they lost 3 games in a row by 1 goal, but like they can't lose 4 in a row by 1 goal. What happens if they do? Right? They might just be like that team. Like that might be. Right now, we're at a point where maybe we don't need to fully sound the alarms. Maybe they're not like blaring throughout the streets, but like you can lose a lot. Like it's not like just because you lost 3 1-goal games before doesn't mean it can't happen the next. Like each game, you have like a 50-50 chance of losing. If it's a 1-goal game, you have a 50-50 chance. And like right now, they're just getting their ass kicked by those odds. And I just think that not giving themselves a few more possessions, not limiting the other team to a few more possessions. Like if you're going to be playing these 1-goal games, you might want to win the possession battle a little bit more.
I just think at the end of the day, if you were asking me personally, and like again, I get where everyone's coming from with this argument. I think it's very, very much ramped up. But if you're asking me personally, what I think of the Waterdogs defense and goalie, and if they could figure out how to stop someone in 32 seconds, and the opportunity cost of having someone like Stathakis come in, like if Stathakis wins 40% of his faceoffs, I don't think it's worth it. Even if you have like Connor Farrell or Stathakis win 50%, I do not believe it's worth it.
That number's so high that you're saying 40%. Like that's like going instead of the fucking Nardell, instead of the guy on the fucking Saints going 31 for 31, that's like him going 17.
You don't know what's going to happen in those possessions, though. Like, I think that, like, you having someone like, you're basically fucking saying that, like, Jake Carraway can't suit up for the Waterdogs to have Alex Stathakis go 38% from the strike. That's not worth it.
I don't think you need to bench him, but you got to bet. I don't know who to bench. Maybe the guy who's nursing an injury, give him a week off. You do a rotation, whoever needs a breather. I don't know what the answer is. But, like, I don't think the answer is – I think 40% is, like – that's so close to being, like, a very even game. That's, like, 4 to 5 face-off difference in a full lacrosse game. If you said 20% and say, yeah, it's not worth it. If he's going to go out there and get his fucking shit kicked in, but going 40%, like –
They only get hurt on these goals. They've only been hurt on, like, a 32-second goal. You could do the math, I'll ask Joe Keys. I bet you that they've got killed on 32-second goals, like, in 3 games, 10 times.
I don't. But it's not the goals that are being scored against. It's the ability to score goals yourself. Like I get it. Like they're a good fucking team. They're not going to get scored on a lot, but they're also not like you're not putting yourself in a position to win. You got to score more goals to win a game, Doogs. It's not just about leaving goals off the board. You got to score more goals. They had the what?
They had the best defense in the league last year. I'm betting on them.
And it's not last year. It's
basically the same team though.
I think the Waterdogs.
But you can't do that. It's a different it's a different thing. And when you're just losing faceoffs and I get it's only 32 seconds. Like, yeah, you're gonna get the ball back. Like, it's not like, all right, make it, take it, and we're never gonna see the ball again. Like, yeah, you're gonna get it back pretty quick, but like, I don't know. Something just has to kind of, if you're going 0 for 31 in the faceoff, like that has to affect the team's psyche on some level where it's like, we don't even have a fucking chance. And if you don't have a fucking chance there, then you're thinking, all right, I like really have to make sure that this shot goes in, because if they go down and they score, guess what? They're getting the ball right back. And then you're overthinking it a little bit. They've been overthinking the whole fucking thing. You gotta put someone in there to give yourselves a chicken dick's chance.
Yeah.
You have to. And like, until they do, I'm a Philly guy. I love the Waterdogs. I hope they lose every fucking 1-goal game until they.
Yeah, I just don't agree with that, and I don't think I ever will. I agree with Bill Tierney's take on it. I think that like it's like 3 to 4 goals that they got hurt on that game, and everyone's gonna make it like a face-off narrative when it's not that at all.
But also,
the narrative is that they don't have the ball. Like Bill's looking at the wrong fucking thing. They don't have the ball enough.
I just don't think that 30 seconds matters as much as people are trying to harp it out to me.
Dude, what about the times that like it's hard to keep track of how many times this happens, but there's times where in that 30 seconds that a shot, a rebound, or hits the post, there's times where that 30 seconds turns into 80 seconds when there's a shot clock restart. It's not like of the 31 possessions the Whipsnakes had, they got 0 shot clock restarts. So, like, then you're just sitting there on defense, and then you don't think after a while it's like you letting it go. It's like, well, they're coming back down no matter what. And I feel like as a goalie in a defense, I know how good the Waterdogs are. I think the Waterdogs are one of the top 4 teams in the league, like, team-wise. I think their record doesn't show that. But I think that's the point of how important the faceoff is because, like, this team that's so good keeps losing to teams that they should be beating. In my opinion.
If you ask me, like, even like the Cannons game, like Zach Tucci, it was poetic justice that, like, he went off against the Waterdogs, and, like, I get the beauty in that and, like, the sport. But again, I don't think that, like, there's a certain type of faceoff guy that works in this league right now. It's clear he needs to stay on the field and needs to be able to play offense in that 32 seconds, or has to be at least be able to be an athlete enough to stay on that side of the field. That's my firm belief. If you have to get the faceoff guy off the field, that's like 10 seconds wasted. You're already at like 18. So yeah, I don't agree.
You give the ball to Michael Sowers during that 10 seconds and you let him throw someone's ankles behind an X.
Yeah.
It's really not that difficult, Doogs. It's like, dude, you have 22 and 6 on offense. You can work with those guys to get your face-off guy off the field. It's a short field. I think that Connor Farrell can get off the field pretty quick. It's a short, like, it's not that long of a distance from the box. And then that way you can have you can load Caraway coming out of the box and have him running downhill right off the gate. And then or maybe that's where you get them to set up for a 2-bomb. Like, maybe you have them coming out of the gate. You throw the ball down, let Sowers do his thing. Everyone's looking down behind the ball, behind the netted X while Sowers is doing his thing. All of a sudden, you switch off the face-off guy for Caraway coming in, lose track of him, throw it up, boom, 2-bomb. Like, I don't know. I just think that there's – I'm fine with not agreeing on it. I'm not fine with my co-host not having just a good look. I think that you're falling in a trap here because it's Bill Tierney, and I think that's what a lot of people. I think a lot of people are falling into the trap because it's Bill Tierney doing this, and I think that Bill Tierney right now is, listen, one of the all-time greats. Love Billy T. Don't want to go on a rant where it seems like I'm disrespecting the guy, but like. Yeah, he's a great college coach. That doesn't mean he's going to be a great coach and know all the answers in this league where it's completely different, where you have a 32-second shot clock, where you have a shorter field. And so far, he's 0 for 3. He's never won a game as a head coach in the PLL.
Championship starts now. And I personally think that the Waterdogs are better off suiting up another midfielder than putting out a below-average faceoff guy in the PLL.
Right. Fair. Agree, disagree.
You're gonna have to choose between Jake Caraway, Brian Conrad, Zach Currier, Jack Hanna, Connor Kelly, Thomas McConvey, who not to suit up. On top of that, you probably have to put in a Ethan Walker or Matt Brandow, and then also you have to put on all the short stick team middies. So, like, for me,
I don't even know the Michigan kid. What's his name? Can sit him easily. McConvey, big body, no points so far this season. Sit him.
Yeah, but I'm saying then you have Brandow, McCardle, Sowers, Walker. Then you have Caraway, Conrad, Currier, Hanna, Connor Kelly, and then right now Schlosser's on the DM, the IR. Then you suit up probably 3-4 short stick middies they do. So you got Richter, Scarpello. I don't even know what I'm at now.
Richard Scarpello. Well, yeah, they have guys that they can sit. Thomas McConvey can sit. Bame can sit.
Bame hasn't really been dressing.
Okay, well then who? I don't know. I'd have to look at either way. There's guys that you can sit.
I just don't think that. I mean, again, I'm sticking to there are goals away from this being like the opposite side of the argument where we're saying, and I know it's not, but we're on. Half glass full, we look at it the other way and be like, wow, like maybe the face-off, they prove that you don't need a face-off guy still. Like
I just like it because we haven't had a contentious episode in a while, and this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, I completely get where like the face-off, and again, I think it's an overtime. Like, yeah, it would be nice to at least put out someone.
Okay, so here's a question.
Would you rather
if you have aspirations of winning a championship, you're probably going to have to play against another really good team. If you're playing against another really good team, there's a chance that goes to overtime. If you've gone the whole entire season without having a face-off guy, you're basically saying that if this game goes to overtime, like we just forfeit because we don't even want to give ourselves that.
See, I don't agree with that because I'm looking at the defensive side of things where I would bank on this, like this defense, this goalie becoming a top 2-3 defense in the like. I think Dylan Ward's going to come on and be in the argument for, as he always does, one of the better goalies in the world. And I think that this defense is really goddamn good. Dude, so it's not like I'm not like saying that I'm trusting my defense more than anything. I'm trusting this defense more than anything to make a stop at the 32-second shot clock and getting the possession back. Like if this was not a good, if this wasn't a good defense, I would say, yeah, throw someone out there. What?
Do you think? Would you take Nick Rowlett? Do you think he would make the Waterdogs better? Like, would he help solve some of their issues? Like, would you feel comfortable putting him at the X, a guy of his caliber? I'll tell you his percentage before you answer.
I don't know.
Okay. I was going to trick you because he faced off at 39%, I don't think that's that. I think that number seems low because you're used to, like, sometimes these guys put up such absurd numbers against teams that don't trust Fogos, but he's only 10 face-offs away from being right at 50%. And like, I
don't know because also the chaos like will also double pull the wings and like kind of like apply pressure. Like it's just like, again, different strategies. Which again is like what I'm saying with like if you throw out Connor Farrell and he has to stay on the field because Trevor Baptiste doesn't want to get out, like that's a mismatch.
Yeah.
Like that's why Farrell ended up getting benched last year at some points.
Fair. Okay.
I don't know. It's a healthy debate. And
sure.
I get where you guys come from. I think more for me. I think for the Waterdogs, it's an opportunity cost. And I get like you guys are looking at it from like the opportunity cost should be that they get a face-off guy to give more possessions. While I think like, man, I'd rather trust my defense to get a stop and have Jake Carraway playing or an Ethan Walker playing or Matt Brandau playing, who gives like some extra rest to the offense to get some more juice on the offense than dressing Alex Stathakis. And who we've been told since training camp is coming and is going to play a role in this team.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. This whole time I've been trying to figure out how many shots against the Waterdogs have faced this year. I feel like it has to be the most, but I can't find that stat anywhere. So if anyone can compile stats for pretty simple shots against, that'd be great. All right, so that was all the Waterdogs talk and all the face-off talk that I think that everyone listening can handle. Guys, really good debate. I feel like we've been on the same side of arguments for a while now, and that was good stuff. Let's see. And anything else from last week really stick out to you? I mean, Whip Snakes get there first. I mean, first off, I want to give a quick shout out. Matt Rambo, just an all-time Philly legend. Was thinking about it earlier today. Guys played 3 games in Philly as in the PLL. He's 3-0 in all of them. 2 of those games have gone to overtime. The original PLL championship in 2019, and then this past weekend against the Waterdogs, overtime game winner in both of those games. So listen, if you're playing a game against the Whip Snakes or Matt Rambo in Philly, you do not want that game to go to overtime because you will be losing it.
Yeah, he's the king of Philly. Also, I guess we could talk about this a little bit later, but I was going to about Michael Sowers. But yeah, Atlas looked legit. Do you want to talk about that fight at all between like Troutner and RP3?
I was right there.
You were take it away. Yeah, boots on the ground. Ness.
Listen. I was pretty close to hopping the fence when I saw Kirsty getting into the mix. Like, you come at a lot of plays, you don't come at Kirsty. I was right on the 45 where Kirsty's coming in. He did kind of look like he went towards the goalie a little bit. Maybe got pushed in. A lot of pushing and shoving. It looked like Logan really grabbed his neck and like shoved him down. Scuffle broke out. I saw Pinnell come in. I didn't realize it was Troutner at the time. he grabbed like the back of his jersey and like his face mask. It's hard to see both at the same time from the angles the PLL released, but he had his face mask like real hard when he slammed him down. And I just in that moment was like, all right, well, Pinnell's like my guy now. Like he came out. One, it's just I didn't know he had that in him. I thought he was sort of more of a play by the rules type of guy. I know he likes to get gritty, score some nasty goals, all time great. I didn't know he had the body slam in him. I thought once you slammed the goalie, I'm surprised that didn't send off fireworks. So it was cool to see. Still waiting for a fight confirmation from Mike Raybould. You're allowed to fight. It's not frowned upon. It's 4 minutes per player that starts throwing. So why don't these guys just sack up and just do it together? Each serve your 4 and get on with it. It's just let's have some fun. That's what it's all about. You're allowed to fight. Someone needs to do it. Keep talking about it. The Waterdogs keep pushing the narrative with the clip with Big Cat asking him to get in a fight. Someone, even if it's not the Water, someone needs to sack up and get into a fight. So I'm excited. I love when the tensions boil over. So it was fun to see. It got me fired up.
Yeah, I think that if you look like, Curse drives into Troutner. I get sticking up for your teammate if you're Logan. You can't touch the goalie. But Troutner was talking shit all game to Ryder. Like all fucking game, ex-teammates. And Troutner got in there and, as somebody that, likes to play a little bit like Troutner, like he had Ryder by the neck being like, hold me back, but like, or like get back here, Ryder, but like clearly was squeezing Ryder's neck. Ryder, like you said, grabs the face mask. Pinnell rips him down. I think Troutner just didn't like realize that people could touch him. I think that he's playing like a goalie that like someone always has his back. As soon as Pinnell like kind of like cocked back, I was like, I don't think Troutner would have been doing too much talking, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that one great takedown by Pinnell. Just smooth execution.
Is he a dad yet?
What's up?
Is he a dad yet?
I don't think so. No, I think he's just. I think he's married to the game. But looked like he had dad strength at that takedown. I mean, he's a more compact guy, right? So he has that lower center of gravity where he was able to just really rip Troutner down and throw him down. And I think my biggest takeaway there is like kind of similar to you, Ness, where I'm a little that was the one blemish that the Atlas have had so far this season. They've been shit kicking everybody. But the fact that your goalie gets thrown down like that and it doesn't ensue in complete and utter chaos.
Yeah, that was crazy.
A little disappointing to me. Like, and I get like, it's like, all right, like we're up by 4 or 5 at the time. There's like a minute left in the game. Like, let's just get out of here. Let's make sure no one gets suspended. But your goalie gets thrown down like that. But from a guy who like has a reputation of being more of a pretty boy than anything, like that should be an automatic green light. Like, let's go. Like this is what we're doing. Like you can, if that's the chaos, everybody's suspended for Minneapolis. Like everybody. If it's I feel like if it's the Atlas of yesteryear, even I think that there were a few more psychos on that defense that would have really been letting it fly right there. But so Atlas, great team. They play bully ball between the whistles. After the whistles, though, soft, maybe a little bit. Who knows? Doogs, hand up. Go ahead.
Looking at a schedule. And, I've talked, we last week we came to the conclusion playoff teams versus non-playoff teams, correct?
Correct.
Now, I'd say we'd say top 4 then would be like elite category, right?
Sure. Yep.
Fair.
Cannons week 1, no face-off guy. Atlas kicked the shit out of them, correct? Do we think that was the best form of the Cannons?
No.
I would say no. Now, you look at the Atlas schedule, right? And again, best team in the league by far. I haven't seen a run like this in the PLL since maybe like the Whips of the early days. But they checked the Cannons week 1. Then they played the Chaos, close one, 3 goals. Then they beat the Redwoods. Next week, they have the Whips, Boston, they have the Outlaws. Now, you could make the argument that they start off like 6-0. The way they end the year, though, is for me how I know how good they are. And I think that's a fact. The way they end the year is a fucking gauntlet. You have Cannons, and Fairfield. This is Fairfield on. You have, let's play the Cannons, the Waterdogs, the Whip Snakes, the Archers, and then the Waterdogs. Like, there is no Redwoods or Outlaws, really, or maybe I forget what I said, but like, it's kind of a gauntlet. You get the Waterdogs twice, you get the Cannons again, you get the Archers. You'll have to play the Archers once too, because it's a Western Conference team. I don't know. I think that's how we'll know if they are historically good after that stretch.
Yeah, and like at that time, like there's going to be a lot of mileage on Schellenberger and Jeff Teat at that point, right? You know, Teat playing the full NLL season, Shelley playing the whole college season. Like those are your two guys right now. Like they're going to have a lot of mileage on them. I think that both of them are like top 10 lacrosse players on the planet right now. So I don't think the mileage is going to affect them too much, right? They kind of just like, you know, they're like a Japanese made vehicle where like they just run forever. It doesn't really matter. But still something you have to consider later in the season, playing against maybe higher caliber teams to close things out. I agree with you on there, but I don't know. I think I wish that I could see them, and maybe it'll be a playoff matchup. Although I guess, do we know how they're doing the play? I know that we've already talked like the top teams, but then is it? I guess you'd have to have an Eastern Conference playoffs and a Western Conference playoffs and a no.
So it's going to be then just one seed from the East, one seed from the West, and then it gets laid out from top bottom overall record.
Okay, so then maybe there's a chance that we see an Atlas Redwoods rematch in the playoffs somehow. Would just love to see would love to see a rematch there, because I want to see, do the Atlas have it in them to kind of take a little eye for an eye after that scuffle at the end. You just got to go out there and send a message.
Yeah.
One more thing I just want to touch on is like the Timmy Troutner thing. You know, he gets fought, and there's like someone was chirping me on Twitter, and I just got angry because it lost the lust of the argument. Where what I was truly trying to say is, if you're Troutner and Nest, you might know this. Like, I don't know if you've ever been pulled or not, but sometimes as a goalie, you let in some goals that are not necessarily your fault, but might not be your day. You know, your psyche might not be there, and you get pulled. Not all goalies get like a fair shot of, if you get pulled, sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not, right? And we've talked about this on the podcast. Troutner is in an impossible job while you have the fifth overall pick sitting behind you, and people are just waiting for you to screw up so Entenmann gets in, right?
Yep.
You want to go?
Yeah, I have a counterpoint when you're done. Go ahead.
But my point is if that game got out of hand and you let in like 10 in the first half, I'm not saying Pressler does, I'm not saying Pressler doesn't, but when you have Liam Entenmann waiting behind you, every game that you are kind of slipping up or getting some by you, if it's your fault or not, people are going to be calling for Entenmann. What's your comment?
I completely agree. Totally know where you're coming from. I just want to play a little devil's advocate. There's a chance, goalies tend to be sickos, that Troutner's a little bit of a sicko himself, and that he knows that realistically he has nothing to lose, because he knows it's inevitable that this job's going to go to Liam Entenmann. If for some reason Timmy Troutner never loses a lacrosse game again the rest of his career, then Liam Entenmann will get traded to another team. That's not going to happen. They're going to lose eventually, and they're going to make the switch, and that's just going to happen. He could be so just okay with that he's just like, fuck it, I'm just going to play, and when it ends, and maybe that's why he's playing so well right now, and I think that could be helping with the psyche, but I totally know what you're saying, where, a goalie wants to be confident there and not just have that feeling like, if I fuck up, they're going to pull me right away. But
I hear what you're saying, but that's not what I was saying at all.
Oh, I don't know. It is what it is.
When you said I hear you, I was like, shit, that wasn't my point at all. My point was like that just because it's sometimes a goal, you don't get pulled because it's your fault or not your fault. Like when he let in 5 pretty early, and someone was like, those weren't Troutner, those were like 5 in. It's not always your fault as a goalie. Sometimes it's just you get the plug pulled. That was more my point than anything else. And then really quickly, I said this on the Mitchell Pelkey show, so I want to say it here. Look at the Redwoods defense, right? You got Arden Cohn, you got Chris Fake, and you got Chris Conlon. What do they all have in common?
Is that Notre Dame boys or
Notre Dame boys? Who's the goalie behind them?
Mr. Liam Entenmann.
Liam Entenmann. What if Timmy Troutner just wins the PL championship with the Atlas and they trade Entenmann to the Redwoods?
Notre Dame U.
Notre Dame U. Yeah, right back to Notre Dame U. I don't know if it happens. I don't know if it does.
What do you think it's going to take
but like
the second
it would take
pick.
I'd say more than that. Like you got like goalie's a special position. You got a special player right there. I would hold him forever. I would like.
What do you think it's going to take to get him into? What do you think
it's a top 5 pick?
What do you think it's going to take to get Entenmann into the goal for the Atlas this year? 2 losses in a row, 1 bad game. Like when are they going to cut that Troutner cord? If you guys had to guess.
It's an interesting point. That's what I was kind of alluding to, though, with like the back end of the schedule, is you could kind of the narrative will be there, and rightfully so. The Atlas proved that like the next couple of games in my mind for them should be gimmies. Like they should not have any hiccups here, even as good as the PLL is. They're that good. But now you're going to start settling into like when you're 6-0, how do you just sit a goalie for a bad game? Not like a bad stretch, but a bad game. Like now you might after All-Star break, you might be just stuck with him.
Yeah, and they're at a point right now where it's not like a Pressler decision, like it's a team decision. Like it's you talk to the captains about it, you talk to both goalies about it, you kind of figure out like I don't think that it'll ever be a situation where like I don't think Troutner has to go into a game and just like be completely blindsided with getting pulled. Like it's at a point right now where like he'll know going into every game where his leash, like as long as Pressler is like a half decent coach and is like able to like talk and communicate with his players, like he'll go into every game kind of knowing where his leash is at. So like, and I think like just if we see, I don't know, we're still early in the season, right? It's only what they played 4 games so far, the Atlas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we're kind of coming up the halfway done their season, but still kind of early in the summer. So like, I don't think if we see Entenmann soon, I don't necessarily think that it means that it's his cage for the rest of the season. Like I think Troutner kind of earned himself 1 game. Entenmann, unless Entenmann comes in and like stops 17 in a row on the doorstep, I think he's earned himself like, hey, like you can kind of have a let up game here. We got a really good guy who's going to come in, maybe, you know, help us get that win. You'll go back in. The leash is going to be shorter, but like I don't think that like right now you're 1 fuck up away from losing that job forever.
I agree with you.
Interesting.
Which kind of pansy of us. So now I disagree with you.
Yeah, no, you know.
And you know what?
Your dumb brain.
The Waterdogs shouldn't just not get a face-off guy. They should ban it from their whole entire organization. No, I'm kidding. And I truly, the one thing that I did want to just harp on really quick, I was trying to make, I forgot to make, sorry. The biggest mistake of the Waterdogs wasn't dressing a face-off guy or not, in my opinion. It was not getting Luke Weirman.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean,
that was like
who do they take ahead of them?
Like they got Brandau and Bame, which is good. And like I think I don't know if like Hudgens was a pickup, but I do think that like they should have got like Luke Weirman. I think the world of as a face-off guy, an athlete, and just what makes the Atlas, in my opinion, truly next level elite is that Trevor can win you a bunch of face-offs, can score, but can also stay on the field and like set picks for your best players and be somebody that can attack on the roll. So.
Yeah.
And he's a Philly guy, so it'd be a natural fit there. So I mean, you go Brandell first round. You go with Kenny Brower in the second round. So 2 good picks. Third round is where they went with Marcus Hudgens. So maybe, let's see. Archers go with a D. Weirman. So, there were still a couple defensemen who went off the board after Hudgens. So maybe, like, if that was really your guy, maybe those teams jump up and take your guy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, listen, you passed on Weirman three rounds in a row. So I agree. Could have had him. Great player. All-time college career. Yeah, Philly guy, can score goals. So will be a great fit for them.
Great at second place.
He's a national champion. I don't think we can do that. He's a national champion.
Eagles have won a Super Bowl. He's came in second place more than one.
Yeah, all right. I forgot. Doogs is riding high off of the Celtics championship, so I forgot we were going to be dealing with the cocky Doogs today. I should have remembered that before we started recording today. Should have been more prepared for this.
Hey, Waterdogs, trust the process.
No, that's fucked up. Maybe the Cannons might bring us another championship. Don't sleep on it.
I know. There was a part of me that would be like, it would be so funny if the Celtics did lose and the Cannons won, and it was just like, oh, the drought's over. But want to finish off really quick with a buy sell for just, you could do it for a team, for the league, anything. And then we'll just give like a champion of who you think just a betting champion who you take right now.
I'm in.
Sure.
All right. I am going to buy the Archers. Graham Hossack's back. The biggest question mark I've had behind the Archers all year has kind of been like, what are they going to do without Graham Hossack, without Matt McMahon? Not that they have bad players at the defense, just consistency. Like, Graham Hossack is, for my buck, the best defender in the PLL. So having him back on the roster changes everything about the outlook of this team and championship aspirations. So I'm buying the Archers stock.
Wow. Congrats. Dude, buying the reigning champs. Big.
Brave of you.
They just got even better.
Well, I'm going to tell you why you're wrong here, because of who I'm buying. Graham Hossack, absolute mutant of a human being, scary individual. Won't want to see him in person after saying this, but not the best defender in the PLL, because the guy that I'm buying all the stock on Jack Rowlett that you can sell me right now. Jack Rowlett, unbelievable start to the season. I mean, this guy, eraser. Definition of an eraser. What he's doing on deep, like, just takeaways, getting it down in transition, the 2 bombs. Like, this guy, I think, we talk about, having Ryder so close to the game, being an assistant coach, being able to warm up goalies, being able to keep the stick in his hands. Like, a guy like Rowlett working with that BU program, just kind of staying sharp the whole time. You can see it early on in the season. So I think Jack Rowlett, monster year, defenseman of the year for my buck. So let me buy that stock now while I still can.
It's a good buy. I'm buying the face-off position. I want all the stock in the Fogos. Get them while you can. We beat this down pretty good, so I don't need to, dive into it too much. But I just think it matters. I think being boots on the ground showed me more than anything that it just seems insane to let
that doesn't do it. Wait, hold on. Time out. I'm sorry.
No, it matters.
Being boots on the ground literally couldn't matter less.
Nope.
That doesn't mean like your argument gets like validated more because it was boots on the ground.
100% does. Here's why. Ready? Humble.
You weren't there, Doogs. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, 1, you wouldn't know. 2, humble brag. I'm sitting right there on the 50. They don't show you from the pylon view on the 50-yard line when they put their sticks down that the guy on the Waterdogs is just backing up. They don't try. I know they don't try because they don't want to go for it and then get burned for the fast break. So to me, to see that in person and to see them do that 31 times in a row, it seemed like I was the crazy one being like, this is nuts. And it's not the players' fault. They can't do anything about it. They're going to get worked by a face-off guy. So I'm buying the Fogo. Again, that's why it matters. Your boots on the ground. I was thinking of taking videos and sending it to the dogs. Be like, listen, you guys gotta get a Fogo because this isn't gonna cut it. It's just never gonna work. But so give me I'm buying all the Fogo I can.
Good.
I've never been more in.
Yeah, good, because that's my segue into what I'm selling, and it's everyone's talking about how important the face-off is, and I'm selling it. And the Waterdogs are going to show you that they can win ball games without a face-off guy. I'm selling the face-off position as a whole.
Is this a self-sustaining economy? If you're selling the stock and then Nest is buying it, is that? I don't know. I feel like the stock's coming up. So I
think it's at an all-time high right now. The face.
I think it is. Yeah, and I think it is too. And I think that like the
That's
pendulum
why I'm selling it.
I think that the pendulum was swung so far one way last year. I think that it's now swinging so far the other way right now. I think by the end of the season we're going to have it at a happy medium. So I'm going to stay away from that stock, but I am going to say that the Waterdogs need to do something about it. I'm going to sell. Yep, go ahead.
One added point is I actually agree with you 100% on that. I think the best thing the PLL did was banning face-off long sticks at the face-off X, but I think there will be a happy medium at the end of the year. And I don't know which way the Waterdogs do go, but I think that if you're a team that it's working for, keep the fucking face-off. Like the Cannons, it clearly works for. They have the right face-off guy. If you don't have the right face-off guy for it, don't do it. Jordie, what are you selling?
I'm selling Canada. So it's just another year in a row where Canada's gumming up the works, stopping a lot of these rookies from being able to get over here and playing these early season games. I think we've seen like how much rookies have an impact early in the season, as all these guys they've been playing since January. They're sharper than all the pros who are coming out here. They're still young, so they still have plenty of legs to them. So Canada with the visa issues getting over here, I think by the time we have a bye week coming up here, and then games get going in Minneapolis June 28th. I want to say by that time I think all the visa shit should be worked out, but the fact that they rob us of seeing some of these rookies weeks 1 through 3, can't be having it. I think that it's I don't know, it's act of war maybe. So maybe Sleepy Joe, not to get too political here, but maybe you should do a little something about it and kick Canada in the ass. Say, hey, we got to get these laxers over here for the first few weeks of PLL season. So I'm selling Canada until they figure out their shit and let these boys come over on a work visa.
Now, segueing off that, couldn't agree more, by the way. Fucking Trudeau's up to this. There's some futures on DraftKings, so I guess we'll just go through them. Actually, we weren't planning on, but we'll do also an MVP pick, a Rookie of the Year pick with the odds. If you guys can open that up, but I'll start it off. Future, I'm taking the stab at. It's the Waterdogs again. What else needs to be explained? I think they're a top 3 team. I don't think the odds present that. Plus 900, I could get them at. Slam. I think that talent-wise, they are a top 2 team in the league. 3 goals away from this narrative being completely different. So with that value, that juice, last time they did this was 2022 where they won it. Give me the Waterdogs.
Yeah, real quick, shout out to DraftKings, #DK partner. Make sure that we are gaming responsibly in a legal state and you're of legal age. I'm a Philly guy. I can't not go with the Waterdogs. Plus 900 is great juice. Just looking at them right now with the futures, you got the Atlas at plus 200, Archers plus 550, Cannons plus 550, Chaos plus 650, Whips at plus 800, Waterdogs plus 900, along with the Outlaws and Redwoods all the way down there at plus 1600. The only thing is I just know I've been so heartbroken before. We got heartbroken last year before they were even officially a Philly team. Just seen this story too many times before. So listen, plus 900 sounds great. I would love for the Dogs to be able to parade around as champions in the city of champions again. But something's telling me that something's telling me I'm going to be annoyed, and we're going to end up. I think Cannons right now got to be my pick for it. So plus 550. As much as I hate to say that, and I know that I probably just stole that one from Nest, but I'm just speaking with my heart, and luckily I went second there instead of third.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy segue. It's the Cannons. It's their year. You can see the way they're playing. They're starting to look just like they did last year. A lot of returning pieces. Losing Kilty right before the season defensively sucked for them. Didn't look great defensively week one. I think as of late they looked a hell of a lot better. As long as Curse is back there, I'm not worried. What I will say though is be wary on betting on the Atlas. I know I don't want to rag on new lacrosse fan Frank the Tank, but this seems to be playing into a role that a lot of his sports teams play into, which is being very, very, very good at times in the regular season, sometimes the best. The Dolphins, the Mets, the last few years, these teams have played very well and have nothing to show for it. So if you're betting on the Atlas, be careful. That's Frank's favorite team, and I hate to see you guys suffer, in the playoffs like his teams usually do. However, it's good to see Frank enjoying the games out there. He's learning more every week. It was fun to see him in action.
Certified lacrosse guy.
Certified. I have two future bets. I have Cannons preseason, and I officially placed Waterdogs. 2 units each. Those are the 2 teams that I bought going into the year. I'm going to keep with. Very excited for this. Feels like the first quarter of the PLL is now over. But then just 2 more bets I just want to look over. We have Rookie of the Year and MVP odds. And I know we'll do this probably at All-Star break, give out midseason awards, but just something fun to look at for right now. Connor Schellenberger is the Rookie of the Year leader. Do you guys think that there's anyone that could compete in the race with Shelley or Brennan?
No. I think I think Brennan O'Neill is one or two very underwhelming weeks away from not even having a chance himself. Schellenberger's so consistent, and it seems like when he can't score, he's going to have assist, and when he's not having assists, he's blasting the ball by goalies. So I think Brennan O'Neill's going to need to play kind of similar. It's not a step or two below than what he did the other week to even be in the conversation with Shelley. So I'm all over Shelley right now, but I think it's sort of a 2-man race between them two. What about you, Jordie?
Yeah, I think that Shelley's just in such a better position where to be consistent, where Brennan, in order to be consistent, is going to have to just completely take over games week after week. And that's a lot to ask. And, he's unbelievable. So he can do it most weeks, but maybe not every single week. And for Shelley, it's not like you just click him in and play. Obviously, there's not a lot of other lacrosse players out there who can do what he does. But he has the ability to just kind of toss the pill around to a bunch of different guys who can finish. So he's always going to get the assists. He's always going to get the points. Eventually he's going to, take a few guys to the rack and he's going to get his goal. So he's just in a better position to get it done. So I think he's always going to be running away with this thing. And it just depends on how many weeks Brennan can completely take over games. If he's able to keep up or not. The rest of the guys, they're going to have good seasons, but not Rookie of the Year seasons. So
right. I'm tempted to take someone like Garrett Degnan or a Shane Noblock, who are very good players. But the point productions that you're just going to see from Brennan and Connor, the narrative at this point will be able to carry itself. So it's a runaway race for those two. And then the last one is we have some deep odds for MVP. It's looking like Jeff Teat is running away with this one, -450 to win it all. Is there anybody that you could see, someone with value that you guys would want to take a stab at? Because I have one that comes immediately to mind.
Look at just a quick note. Look at Brennan O'Neill's odds for MVP compared to Schellenberger's, and then Schellenberger's more of a favorite to win Rookie of the Year. That's pretty crazy right there. But I don't have anyone competing with Teat.
I think that's a correlation bet in my opinion. It's if Brennan O'Neill does win Rookie of the Year, he's most likely going to be in the MVP race as well. Where Connor Schellenberger won't have to be MVP to be Rookie of the Year because you have Jeff Teat who's going to win MVP probably.
That makes way more sense.
This is where I'll finally start to get on talk myself back into the Waterdogs. Down in a hole right now, tough one to climb out of, but they do have the offense who can get it done. And as much as I love Sowers, there is a guy who is, I want to say he's 7th all time in professional lacrosse career points. A guy who gets it done week after week, a little kind of silently, kind of goes under the radar sometimes. He's not, I don't want to say he's under the radar, but people think that it's Sowers that drives the team, but I think at the end of the day, it's Kieran McArdle who gets the job done. So if the Waterdogs are going to dig themselves out of this 0-3 hole, they're going to go on a little run, maybe make it to the championship, and then who knows what will happen from there. But if that happens, I could see Kieran having a huge second half of the season and kind of making that a tighter race with Jeff Teat. Like if we had to say who the MVP was at the first 4 weeks of their first 3 games of the season, clearly it's Teat, but Waterdogs have a big second half of the season. I could see McArdle closing up that gap.
Yeah, I think perfectly that Kieran McArdle is like the 11th best player in the PLL. I don't know if I had to draw it out if that's true or not, but he feels like somebody that's way better than you think they are, but not like – and I think Sowers is the guy for me. So going off that, I think that Sowers would be in the MVP race if these games were flipped. And by MVP race, I mean number 2, because right now it's – if you're not saying the name Jeff Teat, you're just being a hater. I asked Jake Malasek last night, by the way. I was like, oh, this Connor McDavid guy, is he like Jeff Teat? Because – Jeff Teat's having a historically good season. And I don't think that's going I think it's low-key too quiet for how dominant Jeff Teat has been. And I get that he has the talent around him, but he always puts up the numbered productions every year, no matter how good or bad the team is. He's now surrounded by a team that the GM put together. He's excelling, and he's going to be the first player that surpasses 50 points in the PLL.
Yeah.
Right. But calling McDavid the Jeff Teat of hockey is like dude, it goes like Gretzky, Lemieux.
Really?
Jordie Howe.
No. You're putting McDavid too low.
So, right. I'm saying McDavid's like a top.
I mean,
McDavid's a top 4. He's a top 4 player of all time.
He's top 1.
I think he's
McDavid?
the most skilled player to ever play the game.
Right, but I'm saying like of all time, like he's in that top 4. Like, where do we go with the lacrosse conversation?
No, so. I think it's probably so. This is just me with sports. Like, I think that if you played hockey back then with those pads.
Oh my God, are we having a plumber conversation here?
No. I just think that it was easier to score. And then my other rule in life is if you played against Quint Kesnick, who was in goal, I don't really trust your lacrosse stats. So Gary Gate, I don't know if he falls technically underneath that, but he's pretty damn close. So for him to be my GOAT or not, I need to do a little digging.
Okay, so I mean, let's go NLL. We got John Grant Jr. and John Tavares are 1-2 there. Then let's go pro. We've got Casey Powell. We've got Paul Rabel. So right, Jeff Teat's just not in that. Jeff Teat's unbelievable. I don't see people being like, this is the GOAT.
I think he could.
I think he could be in that conversation. He's not right now. Yeah.
I agree with that. You know who I was originally going to sell, by the way, until Nessler bought? I was going to sell Lyle Thompson. Has anyone even thought about him?
No, but he's doing good. He's hanging out with his family. He's playing That's for good.
We're printing the Doogs was right shirts.
I mean, have I ever gotten so much shit for being right? Because I said that. I mean, Asher Nolting is legit.
Yeah, his body.
He's Nikola Jokic. He's from Denver. Big body, great passer. Great vision around the field. Asher's game is great. Cannons are a bunch of fun. And also, do you guys remember what I said? I wanted to text you guys this. Do you guys remember recording when I was like, I wish I could bet on a game to go to overtime?
Last week.
Yeah.
No, but you should have.
I believe you that you said that.
I don't know because again, between the two podcasts, I don't even know which podcast I said it on now. But I was like, I wish I could bet on a game to go to overtime because it's going to be the Cannons Waterdogs.
I think you did say that. I might have to do some digging. Get that clip for you.
We don't have to because
I might.
Yeah, we don't have to because it did, and I don't know. Now it's over. It's too much research. But that's all I got. I'm all good.
Yeah. Listen, everyone, go out there and enjoy your week off. I know if you're a high school kid, you probably have club tournaments this weekend, so it's not a week off for you. A bunch of lax dads out there, you don't have a week off, but week off from lacrosse. So I think long run with the college tournament. Long run to start off the PLL season. So I think we've all earned ourselves a week off. So thanks everyone for listening, and make sure that you are following along on Twitter and Instagram. We are at the Crease Dive on both. We are still Crease Dive on TikTok. Make sure you guys are subscribed to us on YouTube and Rumble. And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high until the day we die. We out.